There are those villains in Doctor Who that are grossly underused, not because they were bad ideas, but because they got swallowed by the show's chaos. Maybe they were tied too closely to one-off writers, overshadowed by the Daleks and Cybermen, or just fell victim to behind-the-scenes politics, budget constraints, or an audience that didn't quite know what to make of them. Maybe they were tied too closely to one-off writers, overshadowed by the Daleks and Cybermen, or just fell victim to behind-the-scenes politics, budget constraints, or an audience that didn't quite know what to make of them. But worse than being forgotten are the monsters who became a joke. Stuck on worst of lists, mocked for rubbery costumes, dodgy effects, or starring in a story so legendarily awful it's now radioactive to continuity. Take Time and the Rani. The Seventh Doctor's debut? A mess. Slapstick gags, sets that looked like rejected candy commercials, and a script that felt like someone skimmed the Doctor Who Wikipedia, dropped acid, and handed it in as a first draft. Even the Rani, a strong villain, was reduced to dressing like Mel and mugging like a pantomime baddie. And caught in the middle of this madness were the Tetraps. Four-eyed, blood-sucking bat-boars who should have been terrifying but ended up as hairy henchmen in a glitter-stained farce. Mention them to most fans and you'll get either a confused Who or a groan of second-hand embarrassment. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Daemon, and today we're giving some long overdue love to one of Doctor Who's most maligned monsters, the Tetraps. Let's talk design. These things were grotesque in all the right ways. Thick brown fur, leathery wing flaps, forked tongues that paralyze prey, and four eyes pointing in all directions, with four ears to match. They hung upside down to sleep, fed on blood plasma or amsalp, and brought a primal, animalistic threat we'd never really seen before or since. Say what you want about the execution, but the ambition was there. This wasn't just another guy in a rubber suit. It was bizarre, it was gross, it was memorable. Yes, the costumes were stiff, the visibility probably terrible, and they were constantly upstaged by the Rani, flouncing around like a cosplay villainess on a budget. But the concept was gold. A creature that sees in every direction, that stalks from the shadows, that drains you dry with a venomous tongue. That's creepy, that's cool. And to those of us who watched live back in the day, yours truly included, the Tetraps lingered. Maybe it's because I've always had a soft spot for the weird ones. Bats, snakes, crows, sharks. Or maybe it's because Doctor Who hadn't ever done a monster quite like them before. And the potential? Always there. Look at the teller from Time Heist. Another beastly, otherworldly creature with a tragic angle and terrifying presence. It worked. It showed that with good lighting, proper tone, and a script that respects the material, these kinds of monsters can be done right. The Tetraps could have thrived in that kind of story. Instead, they were dragged into a neon nightmare and left to rot in the fandom's memory. But it's not too late, because if modern Doctor Who hadn't been steered into an iceberg by Chibnall and joyfully set on fire by RTD 2.0, leaving the ratings lower than an episode of Escape to the Country, maybe someone would have seen the spark that was already there. But enough about modern failure. Let's rewrite history. Let's take the Tetraps back to the shadows, and this time make it hurt. The Doctor lands on a world of complete darkness. Not night, blackness, no stars, no sun, just bioluminescent fungi and the glow of eyes watching from the dark. The TARDIS is half buried in rubble from a cave-in. No companion, no Sonic, no easy way out. This is Tetrapyriarbus. Before the Rani, before the mind control collars, these are Tetraps in their prime, savage, untamed, fully carnivorous. They hunt in packs, they don't negotiate, they don't speak English. The planet is a maze of cliffs, ruins, and echoing shrieks. More horror than sci-fi, this is a nightmare. And the Doctor is prey. There's no team up here, no misunderstood tetrap cub who wants to help. Every encounter is hostile, animalistic, and terrifying. At one point, a tetrap's claw catches the Doctor, and the venom sets in. He spends an act of the episode hallucinating, paralyzed, haunted by memories of past companions while crawling through a world of glowing nests, blood farms, and broods hanging upside down like grotesque chandeliers. As the story unfolds, he discovers relics of a lost civilization. The Tetraps used to be more: ancient labs, forgotten data files, a dead scientist's log revealing attempts to reverse the genetic bloodlust that consumed their race. All failures, all abandoned. The Rani would one day find those files and see opportunity. But there's no grand plan here, no saving the species. The Doctor's goal is survival. He reaches the TARDIS only to find it guarded. To escape, he cracks open an ancient blood reservoir, causing a frenzy among the Tetraps. The planet begins to quake as a forgotten seismic reactor destabilizes. The Doctor stumbles into the TARDIS and dematerializes as the screen fades to black. And as it does, we hear the whispering sound of a TARDIS and a feminine voice of intrigue. No speech, no victory, just survival, because sometimes the monsters win. This is the Tetraps as they should be. Not comic relief, not henchmen, but a force of nature, a threat. Think the Magog of Andromeda, something you run from, and not every alien needs to have a tragic backstory or be redeemed with a tearful monologue. Sometimes they just need to be monsters. Want to scare kids behind the sofa again? Do it like this. Give us this Doctor Who, not the jazz hand affirmation spouting cosplay review we've had lately. And don't pretend it wouldn't work. The silence worked, the weeping angels worked, the teller worked. The Tetraps, they could work too. All they need is another shot, this time with less glitter and more grit. Doctor Who has a bestiary of forgotten gold, creatures that got sidelined by bad luck, bad scripts, or bad timing, but with the right writer and a willingness to embrace the weird, there's no reason the Tetraps couldn't fly again. Upside down, of course. Thanks for dropping by the snake pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where naturally I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.